For 18, an editorialist says, in all cultures, it is almost universally accepted that one has a moral duty to prevent members of one's family from being harmed. Almost, all right. But it is in all cultures. Thus, few would deny that if a person is known by the person's parents to be falsely accused of a crime, it would be morally right for the parents to hide the accused from the police. Man, I don't know about that. Was that really a good, even if you were being falsely accused, is it really a good idea to hide from the cops? Maybe, all right. Hence, here comes the conclusion of the argument. Hence, it is also likely to be widely accepted that it is sometimes morally right to obstruct the police in their work. Well, I mean, if hiding from the cops is obstructing the police in their work, then I guess if you take that first step, you have to take the second step as well. So my objection with the argument is really not the last sentence. My objection with the argument is that second sentence. Yes?
What about the difference between harm and the police? There's no mention of whether or not the police cause harm.
Well, that's my objection. That is my objection, is like, wait a minute. I mean, it says that you're being falsely accused of a crime. We don't know who is accusing you.
Yeah, and are you going to be harmed? What if you're falsely accused of a parking ticket?
Okay.
Is it harm necessarily?
I don't know. When it says crime, I'm thinking of let's take a middle of the road assault or something, okay? And you're being accused of an assault and the police are looking for you, but you didn't actually do the crime. Your family knows that you didn't do the crime. And because your family is trying to protect you from harm, they're now hiding you from the cops. That's my objection, is wait a minute, is hiding from the cops actually protecting your family member from harm? Because it kind of seems to me like hiding someone from the cops might actually be causing harm. It depends where we are, right? And it depends what you believe. It depends who you are, I suppose, and it depends where you are, I suppose. Different parts of the country might be different depending on the color of your skin in some cases. If you're in Manitowoc County and you're a weird dude who lives out on the car wrecking lot, the things might change a little bit. Really? You guys haven't seen Making a Murderer? Anyway, that's my objection. Does hiding from the police actually prevent harm? Question says, the reasoning is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that it what? I made a common sense objection, and I think that common sense objection is going to be the answer. A, did the argument utilize a single type of example for the purpose of justifying a broad generalization? That is sometimes the right answer, but I don't think that's what they did here at all. B, did it fail to consider the possibility that other moral principles would be widely recognized as overriding any obligation to protect? That's not matching my objection anyway. C, does it presume without providing justification that allowing the police to arrest an innocent person assists rather than obstructs justice? Justice is not relevant to this argument. Sorry, justice has nothing to do with this one. D, does it take for granted that there is no moral obligation to obey the law? I don't remember it doing that. Does it E, take for granted that the parents mentioned in the example are not mistaken about their child's innocence? Huh. So here's an example where I would have, on first pass, I would have thought that all 5 of them were wrong. Okay? And what I would have on my page is just a little check mark across the A and across the B and across the C and across the D and across the E. Then what I would do is I would say, oh, well, okay. I'm going to have to go through them again. This time I will try to fatally eliminate, I'm going to make a check mark the other way, again, on the ones that I just really hate the most. and hopefully I'll be left with one that I can then justify. But I'm not going to go through the work of justifying an answer that I don't initially like until I've gone through all 5 answers. Does that make sense? I'm like lowering my standards a little bit now. Okay, so A, did it utilize a single type of example for the purpose of justifying a broad generalization? I don't think so. That would be like Buster Posey is one of the best players in the league, therefore everybody on the Giants is one of the best players in the league. And I just didn't see that here, so I don't think that can be the answer. B, does it fail to consider the possibility that other moral principles would be widely recognized as overriding any obligation to protect a family member from harm? It did fail to consider that possibility because it didn't talk about that possibility. If it's true that there might be other moral obligations that would override your moral duty to prevent members of one's family from being harmed, that would then cause a problem for this argument. So it's weird because it's almost like a weakened question. When it starts with that fails to consider the possibility that, they did do it because they did not consider that possibility. And now you have to consider the possibility yourself, and if the possibility would cause the argument harm, then maybe that's the right answer. So I didn't love that one the first time through, but I'm liking it now. Let me see if I can get rid of conclusively more. Let's see if I can get rid of C and D and E. C says, presumes without providing justification that allowing the police to arrest an innocent person assists rather than obstructs justice. And I'm sorry, justice is just not relevant to this argument. So that's like gone, right? So A is gone now. B is still hanging in there. C is gone. D, takes for granted that there is no moral obligation to obey the law. You know, the law was never mentioned either. That to me seems irrelevant. E, so that's out, D's out. E, does it take for granted that the parents mentioned in the example are not mistaken about their child's innocence? That's actually outside the scope of the argument, because the argument that we were considering is parents, the person is known by the person's parents to be falsely accused. And we have to accept that as fact. We're doing a thought experiment by engaging with this editorialist's argument. And when you come with E, like, well, maybe they're actually guilty, that's just not what the editorialist is talking about. The editorialist is talking about situations in which they are falsely accused. So it's not E. This is one where I would get there in the back door, okay? I'm not like really loving B, but I hate A and C and D and E, and so I could fairly comfortably pick B here and move on. Maybe I'd only be 95% certain, but that would be my answer, and then I'd move on. Is that right? Okay, so 18B. And yeah, I mean, that one would have taken me a lot longer. But whatever, I'm not timing individual questions. I'm just trying to figure them out and get them right. Questions in the late teens, you know, this is number 18. This one is going to be hard a lot of the time. Questions in the late teens and early 20s are going to be hard a lot. So I'm totally fine that I didn't love all the answers and had to go through them twice. I mean, that's going to happen sometimes when you get to this part of the test.